told me not to smoke drugs, but I wouldn't listen. Never thought I'd get caught and wind up in prison. Chalk it up to youth, but young age I ain't dissing. I guess I just had to get it out of my system, out of my system.
All right, welcome to Uncarcerated. I'm Lee Scott. We are in Atlanta with Represent Justice. Of course, I'm a 2026 Represent Justice ambassador. My goal this week was to talk to as many fellow filmmakers and ambassadors as possible, and I'm super fortunate to have join me one of the deepest, most thoughtful, sensitive humans I've met in a long time. Todd, please introduce yourself to our tens of listeners.
Hey, how you couple people doing? My name is Todd Jones. I'm 45 years old. I'm currently what we call in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I'm from and where I live, a violence interrupter, a violence disruptor, things of that nature. I work for an organization called Advanced Peace. Our organization is an organization where we intentionally focus on gun violence, those that affect gun violence, those that's affected by it, influencers of gun violence. Like we go after those people, and we go after them with unique approaches. Well, at least I have a unique approach. I don't tell them, I don't instruct them, I don't recommend them to put down their guns or anything like that. I think that that's one of the things where we kick the can down the road when we keep saying put the guns down or don't do drugs and things like that. That's a universal thing that we know that we shouldn't do. What I do is by way of shared experience and by love, I love the fuck out of them. You know, I love the hell out of them. I love them, and I show them things to where they start to see that someone that came from what they want to do, what they've done, and that lifestyle can live a very peaceful and happy life and things like that. So to encourage them by way of actions and things like that to put the pistol down.
Your work as a community of violence interrupter, obviously this stemmed from being a systems impacted person yourself. Can you talk a little bit about what your impact with the system was like?
Mm-hmm. So at the age of 15, I was tried and convicted of first-degree intentional homicide. First degree, that was my charge. It was 4 count. I was convicted of 1 count of first-degree reckless, the lesser included offense. What led up to that was I actually shot and killed my offender, someone who was sexually abusing me, Mr. David Johnson. It's interesting because I always say his name. Well, I started saying his name in 2007, and I say it every time because Mr. David Johnson was a person. He was an individual. Regardless of what led up to that day, I had no right to play God and take his life, right? That's the biggest thing that I always want to get by to people is that there's always another way to do certain things. We don't see them at that time, but if we challenge ourselves and if we, from a code of conduct, repetitiveness, and when we give people grace and love repetitively, we make better decisions when we in those spaces to make a bad decision. So I ended up going to prison at the age of 15 for shooting and killing Mr. Johnson. I ended up subsequently doing 25 years. So from the age of 15 to 40, I was incarcerated. My teens, 20s, 30s, and I was released February 2nd, 2021. So for the last 5 years, I've been out here in the world, as we call it, pursuing peace,
self-discovery.
Yeah,
You've had to heal, but you decided to not just heal, which would have been enough. Let's say you're cooking at a restaurant, you're working at a Ruby Tuesdays, which I've done, working construction, but you've chosen to heal and live a peaceful life and go to therapy. That would have been enough. But you took it like a million steps further and said, I'm actually going to get involved in the community that I'm from and try to make a difference. That level of accountability and integrity and compassion, that comes from a deep internal place. Can you talk about like what that decision has been like? Because it's not easy. I know I didn't do as much time, but I did 7 years and on 2 different stints. And I have made that decision that in the face of great loss of my wife and daughter, great loss of years of my life, I made the decision to turn around and work with the homeless community, the mentally unwell community, the formerly incarcerated community. I know that place. Can you talk about what that means for you?
I always thought back, even while I was doing time, I was probably the most sensitive and compassionate felon, murderer in the state of Wisconsin. Like, I'm the type of person, I watched Marley and Me, and I cried. I watched The Notebook and I cried. You know what I'm saying? So in those experiences, I was always able to imagine that whoever it was that was in my circle, that told me they appreciated me, respected me, even those that may have feared. They was like me, because I know what that's like. So if they was like me, then they had to have some form of compassion and sensitivity in them. I always look for that in the individual. It's interesting because in prison in Wisconsin, you're taught, don't talk to sex offenders, don't deal with snitches and all of this type of things, right? And that collided with what the fuck I believe, because you're telling me not to care about humanity. You're instructing me not to care about humanity. That didn't sit right with my soul. Do I agree with things that people do? Absolutely the fuck not. But who agrees with what I've done or what I may do? And I still get that level of grace, right? That led me down the path to where when I encountered individuals, like, you got to treat people fair. I never forget, I understood exactly how God works and what fairness can lead to. There's this one kid, David Mueller. He had came into the facility, and he was one of those kids you can look at and be like, damn, drunk driving.
Yeah, he's going to have a rough time.
Yeah, he shouldn't be here, right? Yeah. And white kid. And I remember he was waiting for the phone. Somebody came out and like, who next on the phone? And he was like, I am. And they was like, man, no, I was here before you. I just went to use the bathroom. And I was like, this is one of my homeboys that told him this. And I was like, no, the fuck you not. He's next.
You saw where this was going.
Yeah,
Right.
He's next. And he was like, man, your pussy ass always taking up for somebody. So when he said that to me, now I transform immediately. Hey, go put your shoes on. Me and you we gotta dance right now for what the fuck you just said to me. I gotta remind you that under all of this compassion is the honest to God werewolf.
Boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries. Me and him ended up getting into it, and we shook up right afterwards, and we ate breakfast the next day. But what that reminded me of and what that showed him was, hey man, you gotta take up for the person that you used to be.
Was that like sort of those types of experiences? I'm sure that's just one example. Were those the seeds that planted for you that you wanted to do community work when you came home, or did that opportunity just present itself when you came home?
It existed in me without me knowing. When I got out after those 25 years, I was so disappointed. And what disappointed me was I had these dreams. I used to sit on my bunk. I would read. I educated myself. I got a college degree because I wanted to go home and change the dynamic of my family. All we need is one motherfucker that can think clearly, absent of drugs, absent of this environment, and people gonna get on board.
Oh, do we have the same family?
Yeah.
Maybe we do.
Yeah, because we got creative people in my family. So like they just had one person, and I get out and they reject it. Well, I got 10 nieces and nephews. 7 of them was born while I was incarcerated. So they didn't know me. They just heard about me, and all of that type of stuff. It was the same as when I got locked up in many ways. So it was rejected, man. And I felt like, what the fuck did I fight to get out for?
Yeah.
Why? I could have stayed in there and been the man.
And this is a pretty common theme that you build yourself up while you're in there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do. You have a community. Maybe you're facilitating a class. Maybe you're just like the ticket man. Whatever it is, you have a job. You find yourself, you're stripped away from these roles you play. You're not a father, a brother, a son. You figure out who Todd is. You figure out who Lee is. And then you come home. Oh, and by the way, you're around 75 of your best friends all the time. Yeah. Then you come home, you're alone in the world, completely alone, working a shitty job. And that's a precipitous drop off.
And then like with me, I got out. I had never paid a bill in my life. Like I remember going to the dealership to get a car, and this lady was like, walked out of the room, and I'm like, what that mean? And she was like, I'll be right back, hold on. And she came back with the general manager, and they was looking, and I'm like, what's up, man? Y'all calling my PO on me or something? Did I do something wrong? Is there some fraudulent shit going on? And they was like, we've never seen anybody with zero debt and zero credit.
You have no record
of
being a human.
Yeah, right. Like this is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I remember the first time I had to use Venmo. Yeah. Somebody was like, I'm going to send you money. And I said, just give me the fucking money. Yeah, what are you making me download an app for? Yeah, everything's new.
Yeah. So it was like that experience, like probably about 6 months after I was out, I called my pastor, which is my best friend that I knew from childhood that became a pastor, which blew my mind. And I was like, I can't do it out here, dog. He's like, what you mean, man? Where you at? I'm like, bro, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I want to die, bro. He's like, where are you at? I'm like, I'm by the lake. He's like, I need you to just do me one favor. Drive to the jail the Milwaukee County Jail. I know some people there. I know the sheriff. Just drive there. I'm like, bro, I've been smoking and all type of shit. It's gonna be a parole situation.
Yeah.
Just go. And I went to this police station. I walked in and I told them, hey, I just need some help. That was the first time in those 6 months that I had been treated with grace. People I didn't know at all.
In the place you would least expect.
In the place I at least expected, the police.
And is that how you ended up getting connected to the community violence interrupter
and
program?
it was now, does that not apply? It still is applicable to certain situations, a lot of situations. But in that moment, it was an Iraq war veteran that said, hey, man, what's going on, man? Like, I don't want to sound like this, but I probably know what you're going through.
Right.
Yeah, I probably know what you're going through.
Interesting.
And I'm like, man, I'm okay. I'm just ready to leave. And he like, no, I was told to come talk to you. My boss is on her way down. I want to talk. And then he was like, well, we came to the conclusion that I was going to go to the mental health facility. So I was like, my car out there. He was like, my partner, I drive it. I'm like, I've been smoking. He was like, well, your car will be at the facility when you leave. And then when I in the car talking to this officer, he's telling me how he just concluded training on mental health to be able to understand in situations where there's a mental health situation and it's not this guy trying to kill the police or some
CIT
family.
training, yeah.
Yeah. He was talking to me about how there's just this immediate response in the community to just be like, fuck this, fuck that. And he was like, it's a hard job. And I thought about how life was hard for me. So with the added, I went to the mental institution, I got out, and I just started to volunteer. Somebody hired me on for $800 every 2 weeks.
That's how so many of these social work jobs
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Is just give your time.
Yeah.
I tell my son all the time because he has gone through a lot of the same stuff, and now he's like, well, I just want to do what you do. And I say, go to peer support meetings, show up in these spaces, volunteer your time.
Yeah.
It can open up doors.
I did the same exact thing out here that I did in prison. In prison, all we do is volunteer our time.
Yeah. And also, I bet you had this experience. You saw what someone else had and said, that's what I want.
That's exactly what I want. And it was completely different from what I had wanted. Pre-jail, I wanted the shit that people had got through crazy means.
Stuff.
Yeah, stuff. Yeah. So when I got out and I'm seeing responsibility, I'm seeing like one thing that the prison did to me that I love is it made me appreciate that I can only operate off a routine.
Yeah, gotta have routine.
I need routine to function.
Yeah.
Without my desire for routine is so great. My first 2 years out, I demanded that my parole officer keep me on every 2 weeks visit to the office.
Yeah, routine's an addiction.
Yep,
for sure.
I need you to keep me on every 2 weeks. She like, you gotta be kidding. I need this for me.
Yeah.
I need to know not to get high because in 2 weeks I gotta come see you. I need to know not to do this because in 2 weeks I gotta come and see you.
Well, I mean, in many respects, you went inside when you were 14, 15?
Yeah,
So
1 month after I turned 15.
you really were coming home as a 15-year-old.
As a 15-year-old.
Right.
Exactly.
So, what does a 15-year-old need? They need a bedtime. They need structure.
Yeah.
I don't like that it has to be the police state and
Yeah,
the prison
absolutely.
system that provides it. I think we can reimagine better systems.
Facts.
Which we will get to because that's what we're doing with these films. But so now you're a community violence interrupter. What is that experience like, and what's that programming like in Wisconsin? Because a lot of states have it. There's a lot of states that need it that don't have it. What is that program like?
It's the most fulfilling thing, the most selfless thing that I can do. In Milwaukee is the most segregated city in the United States of America. My zip code, 53206, is the most incarcerated zip code in the United States of America. Milwaukee probably has 700,000 people. Being involved in violence interruption and getting involved with advanced peace as I am, I learned that the most effective tool is honesty.
Yeah.
It's the most effective tool that you have is your word.
I'm going to take it one word further. Authenticity.
Authenticity. Yeah. Authenticity is Because
impacted communities have the best bullshit detectors.
Absolutely.
Of anybody. They've been fleeced. They've been told
they're
one
born
thing.
with
Absolutely.
born with bullshit detectors.
Yep. And
We're
so,
born with bullshit detectors. We can tell how fast the nurse hands us off immediately after we're born. It's like we're just born like, damn, the nurse gave me away quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when I deal with these cats, and then the interesting thing about the world is word of mouth is a motherfucker. Your reputation will enter any room months and weeks and days before you do. So a lot of these individuals that I encounter in this small ass county of Milwaukee and city of Milwaukee that's I love, they've dealt with me in somewhere. Their uncle, their dad, their brother, their friend, somebody touched the penitentiary. And when they touched the penitentiary, they knew who Todd was. Good dude right there, man. It's a good dude. People always came, man, how do you do this? How did you do it?
authenticity.
And I used to tell people all the time, the first thing you got to do is break your own heart.
Yeah.
Break your heart right now. Your mom's not going to be there. They're not going to be there.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck what they tell you. They're not. It's not logical for them to spend 20 years with you.
Dude, I'm so glad you mentioned this because I was just telling someone the other day, the big aha moment for me in my life was I was leading a meditation group in prison. And I asked everyone to close their eyes, breathe in, and I asked everybody to imagine you come home and you have everything you want. You get a house, you reconnect with your kids, you got the girl you want, you got the job you want, you have joy, right? And then I said, I want everyone to imagine you come home, you don't talk to your kids anymore, you have a shitty job, you're living in a halfway house. Now I want you to imagine you still have joy. And that was the aha moment for me, is that if my heart is broken, if I don't hit every goal that I want, how will I still be happy? Because so much of our happiness is derived from these like outside things that often we don't have control over.
Facts.
Yep. So I think you're exactly right there. You have to break your own heart before you come home.
Yeah, you got to do it. And that's the only way that you're really going to heal, right? And when you heal, it's going to allow you to do everything you can to heal others.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because you know what that feeling is like. And if you give a fuck about humanity, like I believe 100% of us do, until something changes and shapes us in a different way, right? If you believe, you will never want somebody to go through that shit that you went through.
That's right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Real empathy.
So when I enter the realm and I'm talking to these cats out here in the streets and things like that, and they seeing it, it's like, hey, I know what you're going through. I know what it's like to have a mother that smoked crack. I know what it's like not to have a dad. I know what it's like to have to do a fundraiser for school and you get all of the M&Ms that you got to sell so you can pay for your field trip and your shit gets stolen.
Yep.
The night you bring it home. So now you stop going to school because you don't want to tell the teacher that, hey, my mom and them stole my shit, man.
Yep.
So now you're not going to school. So now you at home all day around grown people while they do drugs, exposing yourself to them. You exposed to that lifestyle.
Yep.
To when they cracked out. Who thinks rationally when they cracked out?
So I find it interesting. I want to pivot over
Absolutely.
to the film because I find it interesting that you have this experience in prison. You could have gone any number of ways with this film, and then you come home and you're a community violence interrupter, and I would have guessed that would be the direction you went in with this film, and yet you went another direction, and you picked probably the most difficult, sensitive, vulnerable, uncomfortable thing to make a movie about. Can you tell us what the movie is about?
So the movie is called Loud Silence, and it's about sexual abuse in the black community, in the African-American community, in the brown community. Mental health is attached to it, but the main focus is about sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And in our communities, when sexual abuse is perpetrated, especially within the household, the statistics are off the map about sexual abuse and familiarity.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And the familiarity often it comes from a family member, right? And what we tend to do in the community that I'm from is we put the creepy person in the back room or in the attic or in the basement. And then we instructed not to say nothing outside of the house. Y'all know y'all uncle crazy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Or they'll tell the girls that y'all stay away from him. No, why is he here? Why are you giving me at 7 years old the choice to make about being around somebody.
And that lack of public discourse means everyone who knows about it, everyone who's involved, everyone who's touched or not touched is walking around with this ghost, basically.
Yeah.
There's not the language around it
None
to
of it.
discuss it, which means no healing. And that's what you decided to tackle with this film.
Yeah, because we need to talk about this. Like, we need to be protective. And this is just one of them things that it also contributes to, in my belief, the rampantness with violence in my community. Murders and shootings and things like that. When I came up, or I don't want to sound like one of them old people that say when I came up, but when I was growing up, a lot of the things, the violence was perpetrated around money. We wanted some money. And by any means, we was going to get it. We was going to sell dope, rob, do all of that. The violence nowadays, it's not from people robbing. There's not too many bank robberies like there probably used to be in the 80s and the 90s. There's not a lot of people extorting people, kidnapping them and things like that. It's just pure violence. So what can make you despise another person that looks like you, that talks like you, that walks like you so much to where you're willing to possibly end their life or injure them? And I had to look no further than myself. It was the pain of being molested for 4 years and not knowing at a young age how to tell somebody that I'm molested. It was the confusion of wondering not am I gay? Why did my penis get hard if I didn't like it?
And there was nobody there to talk to you about it.
And there was nobody to talk to me about it. There was nobody to talk to me about sex education.
And so not just, that's an interesting point, that the shape of violence has shifted in the last 15, 20 years. And so what you're seeing is that it's this new wave of violence, when this happens, is coming from a deeper place, big T trauma. And maybe it is sexual abuse, but maybe it's like neglect, maybe it's physical abuse, maybe it's poverty. Like it's coming from. And what's crazy about that is that you can't go to the doctor and get medication for trauma, right? Like, you can't read it on a brain scan necessarily.
It's almost like a back injury.
That's right. We're not talking about it.
Yeah. And revealing thing it was for me, because I that's why I killed. I didn't have no one to talk to about what I was going on, to where it got to that breaking point. You know what I'm saying? And so I say that because when I give a speech or I'm talking to a group of individuals and I tell my story, afterwards, and it never failed, individuals that look like me, that talk like me, individuals that don't look like me, that don't talk like me, individuals that look like me but live a totally different life than me, come up to me. And to a man, what those cats that in the streets that I know is active, all they do is give me a hug.
And there's a knowing. There's a quiet knowing.
There's a knowing of what's going on. It's almost like when you see the great tandems, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams,
right,
Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. I can just give you that look.
That's right.
And you know what to do.
This is incredibly brave what you're doing to put your story out there, that hopefully this is going to connect and offer a space to not just heal, but to have language. And that really is a lot of what my film intends to do, is that there just isn't language for us to, especially in some communities, talk about mental health, addiction, homelessness. It's so easy to other someone. And I think that's definitely true of sexual abuse as well. So the film comes out July 23rd.
Yes, sir.
Big impact campaign after that. What are you hoping happens?
I was asked that question in one of our training sessions. In fact, yesterday they posed that question to us, and I never really thought about what I hoped or what I wanted to happen. I think I was just, in a selfish way, it was like, dude, I'm courageous enough to tell my story.
That's enough.
I'm finna finally exonerate Todd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was enough for me. But the more I think of it, the more I eat the question that was posed to us yesterday. And what I hope is, walking away from this, people stop walking past people.
Look at people.
Look at people.
Yeah.
Stop walking past people.
Love that. I
You know what I'm
cannot tell
saying?
you how often I've used that almost exact same line. Yeah, maybe you can't give someone money when you walk past them on the street, but just look at somebody.
Just look.
That's right.
Because that's all someone needs. All I ever wanted was to be seen.
Remember that I'm human.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just see me.
Before we go,
Yes, sir.
What is one thing that you're listening to, reading, binge watching? What's something you're doing to just check out?
The Bible. I've been heavy in my Bible lately. It's interesting because I'm a deacon also at my church, but I'm one of the most interesting deacons. I'm me. You know what I'm saying? Like I know my Bible. I love the fuck out of God too. You know what I'm saying? And I try to move as similar as I can.
Can I get that on a T-shirt,
Yeah,
please?
yeah. I love the fuck out of God. I'll make me a shirt. And I move as close as I can to how Jesus moved, because I think that's a righteous way to move, right? But one thing that I've noticed, and I want to get better, so I had to start getting back better myself, is that I grew up a certain way and people don't, and that gave me a level of peace. It held me in my darkest moments. And I think that's why so many people are readily willing to end it. Me and you are the end game for them. There's nobody after us.
Right.
Who else cares after these people? Don't nobody. So it's like just familiarizing so when people see me, they see who I am.
Yeah.
So the only way someone can see who I am is that I have to routinely inject myself with the righteousness. It's like going to the hospital. When you get
Fills
sick,
your cup.
yeah, when you get sick, I want to say this to people before I go too. Like, no matter where you fall, when you get sick, you go to the hospital. The challenge is for everybody to find the hospital. Society makes you sick every day. I have to walk into the sanctuary on Wednesdays for Bible study. I have to walk into the sanctuary on Sunday for the word, because Monday and Tuesday I am so sick. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I am so sick that I need to go get my IV.
I love that description, because that can look like it's church for you, but you're saying that hospital could be something else for somebody else. It could be a therapist. It could be, a walk in the woods. It could, right. Yeah, but find the hospital.
Could be going to the nursing home to help somebody.
Volunteering. Yeah.
Find the hospital. Heal yourself.
Love this, Todd. Todd Jones, fellow Represent Justice ambassador. The film is out July 23rd. So many important conversations coming after this. Thank you so much for joining me.
My brother.
Appreciate you.
My man.
Love you too, man.
All right.
They told me not to smoke drugs, but I wouldn't listen. Never thought I'd get caught and wind up in prison. Chalk it up to youth, but young age I ain't dissing. I guess I just had to get it out of my system.